So how to send email. So 4 things we need. One is to address, one is from address, one is mail message, and one is subject of the email. These are 4, um, mandatory things. Optional things like CC, BCC, attachment, if any file attached to also send. Those are all optional, but minimum things is this. So understand it and you have to implement in our project. I think user registration, when you submit the data, it is going and saving in database, right? So my requirement was, once data will go and save in the database, then you have to send one confirmation email to that user saying that, dear user, welcome to ABC Limited or whatever. You are now being part of the feedback system. Either you will be assigned some feedback to provide for others, or you can also be assessed by other feedback providers. Like that, one small welcome message you have to write, and then say that, okay, please click below link to access the application and log in. First time it will take you to the change password screen. Please proceed with the change password and then remember your user ID password. Like that, some instruction line you wrote, and then send one email. So to address will come from where? From screen, because just now you filled the screen, right? User ID, password, name, this, that. There one email column will be there. So to will come from there. From will be hard coded. Either you maintain in configuration or in database or somewhere you maintain, or you hard code it directly. Okay, hard coded. Like no reply @abc.com, something like that, from address. Mail message, 2 types, either plain text mail or HTML mail. Text mail means just like this. You can say this is a text mail. String mail equal to, dear user, welcome to ABC Limited. This is called plain email, plain text email. But HTML email means, imagine you want to say, Acha, after this I want to break the line. So you put a BR here, right? And you are saying my body will start from here. HTML will start from here and here, and body will start from here and here. That means whenever you need some style, bold, italic, underline, line break, all these things. Suppose you want to say dear user should be in bold letter. So here you say B, and here you say ended with B. So when you are writing like this, that is called HTML mail. When you are writing simply plain text, that is called text mail. So whatever it is, but you have to keep it in place. That means one variable has to be declared like that. Then subject is always plain, but if you want, you can have subject also HTML. That means when this line will be rendered on the browser, automatically it will come bold letter, break, line break, HTML, whatever you have provided. Sometimes font format also you can provide, color, etc. Okay. So anybody is facing network issue? Some people are logging in, logging out again and again. Am I audible properly, guys? Any problem from my side? Okay, all right. So that means you decided what are the items to be needed in the send email. Now comes how to send, coding wise. Okay, understand here, then I will show you the coding, then you can perfectly do that. There are 3 work involved here. So 4 things you have to pass like this, and in that coding, wherever you are writing the coding for sending email, there is something called mail message class. Okay, system.net.mail, that is the namespace you have to use, and class name is mail message. So mail message class object you have to create. Once you created that object of the class, it will expect these 4 things to you. Then imagine that object name is obj equal to new mail message. Then you have to say obj.to, obj.cc, obj.from, and all that. Okay, like that, equal to you go on giving whichever variable you have stored that data. Similarly, obj.from, and so on. One more way is, during creation of the mail message object, you can send from and to the constructor itself. Here you can say from whatever you collected and to whatever you collected. Then this is not required. Either you pass it through constructor or you say obj.obj. You give. But this from and this mail message and subject, these things will be separately given always. There is no overloading of the constructor that takes mail message as well as subject. So obj.mail message equal to obj.subject equal to, like that you have to write. Okay. So if you have some path of file, you can say obj.attach equal to, like that you can give an attachment also. So all those things you have to do. That means what your mail message is supposed to take, you provide it. That is called step number 1. Okay. Step number 2 is SMTP. SMTP. Sometimes what we do, we get the plan from various third party. GoDaddy.com, Google is also a service provider. Many are there in market. So you have to pay some money to third party. They will give you some service, and using that service, they will provide some SMTP, link. smtp.gmail.com, like that, smtp.godaddy.com, like that they will give one SMTP link. That means from that server, mail will be generated and sent, right? From that server, whichever server link they will give, from that server, that mail will be generated and sent. Imagine something illegal mail somebody sent. Then who will be responsible? Now Google will be responsible. That's why they will make sure that whatever Gmail ID you are using for that purpose, that is strictly validated through some security protocol. Alternate email address should be there, mobile number should be verified, all those things will be there. There is something called security alert in the, if you go to inbox and setting, your mail setting, there will be something called security alert for this kind of services. So that checkbox you have to check it, then only it will allow to send the email. So SMTP link will be provided by the third party. Currently, Gmail is providing some free of cost port number also. There are 2 things. One is SMTP link, one is port number. Okay. Some port number they give for the sample purpose. That means they will say that, hey, you use some 25 email just for sample, and if you are happy, then you go for commercial. So currently what we will do is, we will use that port number which is for free of cost. We are not going to spend money, right? Up to 25 email per day, they are giving free of cost. So why should we spend money? 1 or 2 email if it goes also, our work is done. So we will be using some port number which is free of cost. SMTP link will be common, whether commercial or free, but this port number will be different for commercial as well as free. Imagine you paid one policy which is 1 lakh email per week, up to 1 lakh email per week. That port number may be different. They said another port number which policy is 1000 email per day. That is also another port number. So those are all commercial port number. But one port number they have kept for free of cost. Okay. So step number 1 is what you want to send. Step number 2 is who is going to send. And step number 3 is network credential. Okay. Now they say you are bound to have one Gmail ID at least. So your Gmail ID will be network credential in case of free service. They will say, why you are not Gmail address holder? Why should I give free service to you? Right? So they will say at least you should have one Gmail ID, then only will give you free service. Coding, process, everything same. Just we are not paying money up to 25 email per day, they are giving free of cost basically. That is for another strategy of the commerce. If you give something free, then only people will use it, then they will know about your service and then they will pay you for better. Somebody is going for commercial, 25 email per day will not be enough. Na? They obviously go for some commercial version. But money what they are taking is not huge. 1000 rupees, around 1 lakh email, they will say the capacity, something like that range. Nothing much. If somebody wants to deploy one website and writing some bunch of code for sending email, hardly you will say that okay, monthly 1000 email I may expect. Then around, it has seen that around 507 rupees average, you can go for 500, 700, not 5000, 7000. In that average, you can go for 1000 mails like that. So easy, not much costly. Even when your number of email is increasing, then rate will be little decrease also. 1 lakh means they may say, okay, 5000, 6000 rupees per month, 1 lakh email will be sent. So that kind of service they provide, but you have to understand only which policy, what port number. Okay. So network credential you understand. That means you have to say that my current Gmail ID I will use as user ID for this service, and you have to generate one password against that particular Gmail ID, and that will give you credentials. So that means one user ID, one password. When you take commercial, that time your Gmail ID password itself is the password for that. But when you get free of cost service, there is something called less secure app activation. Okay, there is something called less secure apps activation. If you go for this, they will make it mandatory, saying you have to enter your alternate email address, you have to enter your alternate mobile number, etc. With proper security, they will allow you one password here, less secure apps activation password. That password you have to use here as a password. So Gmail ID is the user ID, that less secure app activation password will be your password. Kind of OTP they will send to your mobile actually. Okay. That's it. That means your all 3 steps is done. Then on button click you can execute those code and then you can send the email. So actual code I have already written. So I will just show you. Again, it is not related to MVC or anything. Whatever it is, only those bunch of code is important. Even in console application also you can send that email. Okay, I have written a function for this. In controller, I wrote some variable from to user ID, password, etc. Mail, message, subject, and those 4 things I am passing to this function. In your project also you can do like this only. You create a utility feature class. There you define a function called send email. Okay. Go to implementation. This is the code I am talking about. So you collected 4 things: from, to, subject, and body, message body. So from and to already you passed to the constructor of that class. Then subject, body you passed it here. Each body HTML means whether your body of the message is containing some HTML tag also. Second step is SMTP. Third step is network credential. So SMTP says port number and your port number I have written here. I can take it up also. And third step says network credential. So here you are saying enable SSL true. For free of cost service, it is mandatory. Line number 28. If it is a commercial, it is totally up to you whether you are taking the SSL certification or not paid for SSL certification. If you have not paid SSL certification, then perhaps your protocol will be HTTP, otherwise it will be HTTPS. But for free of cost service, it is mandatory to write this, because they assume that free of cost service, most of people, they will send some illegal email which is not appropriate for the society. That's why enable SSL is mandatory, so that if anything inappropriate as per the Google rule, it will reject that email. Network credential, currently I have given just for your hint, type your from email address should be as equal as your network credential. Okay, so let me write that point here. Here use your Gmail ID, and from address also I will say here use your Gmail ID. That means both are same Gmail ID. Okay, both should be same Gmail ID. I have written here also hints. Type here from Gmail ID. Okay, type here your from Gmail ID and type here your password. So for commercial service, it is direct password they will provide to you, and for free of cost service, that less secure app password. Okay, so I have given the link also for less secure app where to go and explore. So to provide the less secure app, or you can Google also how to provide less secure app password. So that password will be used here in the network credential. Then these two things is, it is saying whether you want to use this default credential. If it is commercial service, you have to say true, so that every time it will not cross check the credential. One time it will cross check, and it will be something like a auto sign in. And in which object you have all those credentials, that you have to provide it to the SMTP. You said my object name is network trade, so that is containing user ID and password. So here I have given some hint for you ki how to generate less secure app password, and that password you have to use it there. Then smtp.send, you have to send the email. So this bunch of code you have to use for sending the email. Okay, so what you do is, you have one utility layer in your project, right? So go to that utility layer and just copy paste this function. Okay, and across the application, wherever you want to, because it's a static function, so wherever you want to send the email, just say utility feature dot send email. Okay, so whatever name of the class you have given, that class name dot send email. Don't forget to make this send email as static function, so that you need not to create object across the application everywhere to call this function. I assume maybe 10 places if you are sending the email, only one function should handle it, because from to subject and message body we are already passing from there, right? Try it out. If you have any challenges, I will help you. One more thing I have not taught you is, I think, state management I have not taught you. Okay, so state management, not sure if some of the states I have taught already, but I will overlook everything. So state management. So what do you mean by state management? This is MVC feature. Okay, not necessarily it has to be only console. It is only and only MVC, because every technology states are different. State means data management basically. Okay, few things I have commonly used every class, last many classes. One is called view data, one is called view bag. I think we have used this, but still I will repeat it. View data, the data between controller to view. So initialize in controller action method, initialize in controller action method, and use it in respective view. This is also same only, view bag. Now I will tell you difference. This one is object data type. It stores in object data type. As a result, what happen? If you store any data in object data type, one demerit is there. That is, whenever you want to use it, you have to typecast and use it, because object can store anything, na? String also, integer also, everything. So when you use that data, you have to tell that in which format I'm using it. Imagine you said view data dot x equal to 10, view data dot y equal to 20. So if you add both of them, it will not say 10 plus 20 equal to 30. It will understand as if you are trying to concatenate, because object doesn't understand numeric, integer, decimal, etc. It will say, why mine data type is object. When you pick the data from me, you use it for your own purpose. If you want to use it for integer purpose, convert to integer. If you want to use for decimal purpose, convert to decimal. That you have to do. That means typecasting is must in case of view data. If you want to use it in its real data type. But if somebody is happy 10 plus 20 equal to 1020, then it's okay. No need for typecasting, right? But view bag, it is little smart view data. View bag is little smart view data. Area of access is same only, but little smart. When you say smart, from the data it understands what type of the data. It is called dynamic data. Stores data in dynamic. Okay, store the data in dynamic format. Dynamic and object difference is, object will say I don't bother what is your data type. I will take everything and I will define my own data type called object data type. But dynamic says I will also take whatever you have, string, integer, decimal, whatever you have data type, I will take it, no doubt about it. But I will do some extra smartness here. So it will say, if you are giving me integer value, by the way, I myself will define integer. So view back dot roll number, suppose you gave 100. So suddenly this roll will be 100, integer. Okay. Dynamic means time to time it will decide what data type supposed to happen. Somebody has written voice is not audible. Am I audible, guys? Able to hear me? Okay. Acha, okay. Got it. Okay. Fine. Now, this is called dynamic when it applies little smartness, saying that, acha, you gave 100, so why should I take object type? I will take 100 means integer only. Na. Suppose you give within double quote 100, it will say, okay, even though numbers are 0 to 9 or something, I will take it as a string because my format is double quote 100. So you give some, 20.7. It will say, acha, you are giving with decimal. So I will understand automatically as double. Default is double, as long as you are not writing M here. So like that it understands. Right? That is little smart view data. Otherwise, both are 99% same. Area of use is if you want to pass something from the action method to view. There is something called temp data. Okay. Temp data little expanded to another controller also. This view data and view bag, they say we are not accessible outside our combination. Means which action method, which view, between them only we can float. No need to manually send. The moment you initialize the controller action method, we will automatically understand that this action method is for so and so view, so it can be accessed in that view, no doubt about it. But sometimes you may need, I gave it in index view, I want it in create view related, view, another view. Maybe same controller, but another view, another action method and another view. Temp data. Maybe you may expect, acha, controller number 1 is redirecting to controller number 2. In controller number 2 also I want it, right? In controller number 2 also I want it. Then you have to go for temp data. So you can say that, acha, session is also there. If I will store in session, Obviously my second controller also will get it, third controller also will get it. Then how this temp data is differ from session, right? Both are storing object type data, guys. Session also storing object type, temp data also storing object type. Okay, square bracket, whichever storing object type, its syntax is like this. Temp data, suppose I am storing my name, so my name equal to something. Okay, here I should set something, whatever name, Naresh. Now session of my name, its syntax is like this, or I will say your name. Something. Got it? Temp data of my name, session of this. This is applicable in web form. Syntactical little different, but concept is same. In MVC core, syntax is little different. HTTP context dot set session string. HTTP context dot get session string. Okay, concept is same, but syntax is little different. So what session does, it says you store this Suresh inside this. As long as you are not closing the browser, I will keep it. You go to page number 1, page number 2, controller number 1, controller number 2, controller number 3, controller number 4, wherever you go. As long as you are not closing the browser, fully ending of the session, browser session, I will be keeping it. Like for example, you are going to inbox in Gmail, right? You are putting one time only, na, user ID password. So now in another tab, you are going to Google Drive. Does it ask again user ID password? From where it is taking that user ID then? From session. Once you store in session, it will be ready available for entire browser session, for any page, any controller, any action method, any view. Okay, HTTP context dot set session string, HTTP context dot get session string. That I will show you proper syntax in the program. Now, what is difference then? Session, if you give, it will retain whole browser session. That's why the name is session. But if you give temp data, it depends on source controller and target controller. Between a source controller and target controller. Now it is you have to decide whether my temp data will be useful or my session will be useful. There is nothing called this is good or that is good. It is all matter of what is your requirement. Suppose somebody says whichever page you visit in Gmail, it should not ask user ID again and again and again. Then go for session, because whichever page it is saying. But somebody says no. From login controller you take the user ID, and in inbox controller display that user ID. Apart from that, if any other page somebody is going, any other controller somebody is going, you ask user ID password again. Then temp data, that says one source controller to one target controller. Once that is used in that target controller, then it will clean it automatically. After rendering second controller action method to view, it will clean it. So most of cases temp data is used for safer side. There are two demerit of session. One is unnecessary accessibility. Security may be loose. Perhaps page number 17th, you didn't want to get access to that user ID, but unfortunately it giving because it's a session. Every page, every controller, it will give it by default. Temp data will say no. Wherever you want to send, from there you send. Wherever you want to catch, there you catch. After that, I will not keep it retained in the memory. If you want to retain it, then you can retain it manually. There is some step also, but if as long as you are not saying please retain it for one more level, I will clean it. Okay. So this is about temp data. So let me open one example. Acha, I will complete this concept, then I will show you the program. That's better. Hidden field. This is also a state. Okay, hidden field. This is a completely client side state. That means in the view itself. In the view. Sometimes what happens, you want to keep some information in the view, and that information you want to submit it every time you submit the button or something. Okay, some hard coded information or some collected information, but that is not necessarily to be visible to the people. If you are using a text box, it will be visible to people. If you are using a label, radio button, drop down, those are all visible to the people on the screen itself. Visible also, and data is collected also from the drop down or radio button or text box. But your necessity is you keep one data, collect that every time, but not necessarily that data to be displayed on the screen. Okay. So if that is the case, then you have to go for hidden field. So syntax is like this. Input, it's a after all input type. So you have to write input type equal to hidden, and as usual id equal to something, name equal to something, what else, value equal to something. Suppose I stored some ABC Limited. That means whenever somebody is going to submit this button in that page, one hidden field value will go from the view to action method, named as h1, value as ABC Limited. So h1 equal to ABC Limited will go as a key value pair to the action method where you are submitting. So sometimes we may change this value also, right? You can say h1 dot value equal to whatever. So that also you can do. That means whatever value you are going to pass to this hidden field, you don't want to display. So between text box and hidden field, nothing much difference. Only difference is text box will be visible on the screen, hidden field will not be visible on the screen. So these are various state. Let me open one solution, then I will show you. Sorry. Yeah, just have a look. I have opened one solution. I have a controller named as state example controller. Confirm me if you are able to see the Visual Studio solution I have opened, and the controller name is state example controller. Okay, is it visible? Okay, so this is my first controller. Okay, and this is my second controller, and this is my third controller, right? Just to contrast between temp data and your view data, etc., I have prepared three controllers. First controller, I am initializing some view data as well as view bag, temp data, etc., and forget about multiple controller as of now. First to understand about single controller, view data and view bag. So this is the syntax for initializing the data, and for receiving the data in the view side, just go to view. So these are all already we are using many places. You must be knowing already. Just for your better confidence, I am covering once more. So you can see here I said city name is so and so. So that means here I initialized, and there I used it square bracket whenever it is object data type, and dot something when it is dynamic data type. Okay, view bag is a dynamic data type, and view data is a object data type. For temp data, what I stored India in my country. Okay, line number 17. Then I redirected to second page. Okay, I redirected to second page. So my second page means second controller index action method here. Now I'm just checking whether view data is available here or not. Okay, I'm checking whether view data is available here or not, just to contrast the view data versus temp data. Then I'm coming, temp data is available here or not in the target controller, I mean to say. Okay, so here what I did, I came to first controller. Let me set it as the default controller. Program.cs. Our default controller name is state example controller. Already it is that state example controller. Okay. Now let's run it and see what happens. So first I will do some changes here. I'll remove all this extra code and this code as well. Simply first I will do whether data is available or not. If data is available, my country, right? So please prepare a view bag called current country or something, and please provide that here. If not, null. If by chance nothing has come, then please take that and display on the screen, and nothing has come means country not collected, you have to show. So put a breakpoint at the beginning and run this, see what happens. I will first delete all breakpoints and put a breakpoint here. Alright, so come here and first to put a breakpoint in controller number 1. So our assumption is view data should not go, temp data should go to the second controller. Now you focus only between first controller and second controller. Don't think about third controller. I will go to that. So view data cannot be passed from one controller to another. That is only between one controller to its view. That's why name is view data, right? But temp data temporarily serves like a session. That's how we say it as temp data. Temporarily serves like a session, you can say. That means between one source control to one target controller. Alright, now as usual it came up to line number 19. Till then already view data is ready, view bag is ready, temp data also ready, and I'm not going to its view, index view, rather I'm redirecting to some other controller index view. So check it out whether it is coming to controller number 2. Yes, it came. Now view data, as per our understanding, it should not have it. Have a look, it came to else part. That means view data is null. And what we understood about temp data is it should come to the second controller. So proceed. You can see, right? It is coming. So temp data is able to come to second controller. However, view data is not able to come to second controller. That is the contrast between view data and temp data. Now if I will redirect to third controller, suppose I put a breakpoint here in third controller. Now what do you think? View data anywhere not available, because forget about third controller, second controller also not available. Why should I think about third controller, right? But if I want to go to third controller, okay, whether it will be available or not, have a look. If you see temp data, you can quick watch also like this. Okay, right click and quick watch. You can see India has been transported to third controller. Reason is we didn't use that in the second controller. We collected, but we didn't render it. Remember, okay? So if you don't want to render the data, that means you are coming in the server only. From first controller to second controller in the server only. C# code to C# code. You never got a chance to render it. That means that data will be retained because you didn't use it in the second controller view. Okay. This is where many people do the mistake. Right? In interview, they will ask, if I want to take the content up to third controller, is it possible or not? You have to say possible, but conditions apply. If second controller after receiving the data is rendering that data, then third controller will not get it. Okay. If second controller cross that data to third controller without using it, without rendering it, rendering means displaying on the browser. So did we display on the browser here? No, right? We collected it, then redirect to server side only. Now I will show you by rendering it what happens. So what I will do is, in second controller I will create one view. Already it is there, you can see, right? Here I am written click here to visit to third controller page, etc. And I am displaying those view bag. So what I will do is, I will go to second controller again. My view bag name is current country. So that current country I want to display, suppose. Okay. Acha, collected country, collected city already have done na, so no problem. So this part I should put it there. str country. Where is my str country? It is string. Acha. So here you go. Okay. And here you make two string. And this view bag already I am using in the view. Already that view bag I am using in the view. If you see here. That means not only just collected in second controller, but also I want to render into second controller. This line I will change. I will say return view. Make sense? That means I don't want to go to third controller directly in the server side. I want to go to third controller, no problem, but from the client side. After rendering this data, I want to go to third controller. See what happens. So again, run this. Second controller, it will come here, somewhere here. Is it already reached and stuck? Check it out. Yeah, it came here just now. Now click on continue. As usual, I am going to second controller. That also you do. Already in second controller, we will put a breakpoint here, line number 16. Go here. Already you know view data will be null, so it will come to else part. No doubt about it. Put a breakpoint line number 25 and continue. Here you go. It will be not null, so it will come inside this, and then current controller, sorry, current country India collected here and provided. City is city not found, and country is India. Make sense? Any confusion here? That means your view bag, both view bag are ready. You are about to render it to the view. Now render it. Continue. This is which view? Second view. Okay, second view, second controller's view. That means first controller sends some data to second controller. Second controller not only catches it, but also it passes to the view and it renders it also. That means your execution engine should automatically understand that this data has to be cleaned up now. So it might have already cleaned from the garbage collection. Then it will go to click to visit to third controller. Let's see what happens. Now you check. Can you see? Null. That means once second controller started using, then it will say null. So it will say country not found. Right? So this is about view data versus temp data. Now temp data versus session. So one more example I have shown here, how to collect the data from the session. Imagine this is your login page. You collected the user ID from the user from the view. Now plug that into current user ID or something. Okay. This is for getting it. And for setting, this is second controller, right? In first controller, you can have set the data. So what I will do is, in single example, I will take it and put it, and that I will share to you. So in first controller, I am assigning the data to session, and in second controller, I want to get the data from the session. This is our second controller, and here I will check, please collect the data and store. Okay, let's run once more. See the syntax once. HTTP context dot session dot set string, whatever user ID or whatever, and this one can be anything. It can be string, it can be object, it can be anything. Imagine you want to store some list, then store in one object data type that list, and then use that object data type here also, fine, because session always stores in the object data type. Anything can be possible, you can store it. And now you have to come here and collect it. Okay, here I said my UID 1234 is the data, and actual key is my UID. So it is case sensitive. UID is capital, so here you must make UID capital, right? So let's see whether it is collecting that data from the first controller, and same line I will write in the second controller, third controller, everywhere, and I will see whether it is also collected in third controller or not. Put a breakpoint here as well. So render, don't render, whatever you do, but session will be written across. So let's run it. I think it is already there. Yeah. So continue. You have to activate it in middleware. So that's why I think I have made it. So in middleware you have to activate it. Just have a look here. Can you see line number 6? I have activated middleware to use the session, and some timeout also I have given. You can give any session timeout here if you want. I have given 120. If you want, you can give anything. Okay, so this one also you have to use it. So let me run this solution instead of that solution. So that is the reason I think I have created a separate solution for session. So come to your main controller, this one, and put that as a default controller. State example. Okay, and here you go. Okay, one example I am giving for view data, view bag and temp data. Another example, separate example I am giving for session. Okay, I have copy pasted that in a separate example, and I have activated session in the middleware. So you have to use this line here, and you have to say use session. Okay, below app.use session, then only it will allow, otherwise it will not allow. It will show error that you have not activated the session. So run it. So your user ID is my UID and data is my UID 1234, something like that. Okay. It came here. Continue. Now your session is set. Now go to second controller. Already you have breakpoint. Now it is time to collect the data. Just put a breakpoint here and continue. Check it out whether my UID 1234 is collected or not. That means your first controller is able to pass to second controller, which is also possible by temp data. Nothing big deal. Then you did one thing. You store that into view bag and then return to this. Okay. You render it. In the second controller, you rendered it. Now you are visiting to third controller. Okay, you are visiting to third controller. Put a breakpoint. Now have a look. So this was not being possible in temp data, right? But it is being possible in session. That means as long as you are not closing the browser, your session will be remaining there. Let me do one thing. I will directly go to third controller from another browser, right? As per our understanding, it should not have that data because session no doubt it will alive, but only for that browser it will alive. So I went to Google Chrome and I am trying to access that third controller directly, suppose. Okay, so let's have a try. Paste it and then enter. No doubt it will come here directly because it's local debug mode. So if I am coming from Google Chrome also, it will come here, doesn't matter. But matter is whether it is collecting the data or not. F10, F10, F10. Have a look. That means as long as that browser session is concerned, it will say I am good, I can give you. But when you are going to another browser session, it will say no, I cannot give you. That's why imagine in Mozilla you went to inbox of Gmail. Now in Google Chrome you are going to Google Drive of Gmail. Then it will ask again user ID and password because that session is not continuing to the second browser. But what about same browser but another tab? This is blank, you can see here. Now what I will do, in the same browser where my session is already active, I am creating another tab. Okay, just to get much clarity about session. You press enter. Where it will take? Obviously it will take to my third controller. F10, F10, F10. Check it out. So in another tab of the same browser, I didn't again come from first controller to second or second to third. No, I directly went to third controller, but still it is retaining that. So what you understood by session? As long as browser session is active, it will provide you data regardless of controller, regardless of the page, regardless of the tab. Same browser, different tab also fine. But when that session value will not be available, browser becomes different. You close the browser, open again, or maybe application altogether different. In tab number 1 yahoo.com, in tab number 2 gmail.com. Do you think yahoo.com session value will be passed to gmail.com? No. So application is different, or browser is different, or closing the browser session and opening it again. In all these cases, your session data will be lost. But temp data, forget about all these provisions. The moment you reach to any other controller other than target controller, it will lose the data if you have rendered it. But as long as you are not rendering that data, it will say that okay, I'm good, I will take it, like that. It will go on taking. When you render it first time, then it will use it in the browser, then it will clean it from the server also. Both are server side only. Temp data also stores the data in server, but temp data says once I display in the client, then I will clean it in the server. But session will say I display in the client, doesn't matter, but maybe my user will use it in next page, so it will keep it retaining. Okay, so these are all. And hidden field, check it out, somewhere I might used. It is just to keep some data, so let me check if I have used somewhere. Otherwise I will use it and show you. Okay, I will show you the syntax. So here you go. Inside this form, you have to just say input input type equal to hidden, id equal to something, name equal to something, give double quote, and value equal to something, let's say 1 2 3 4, whatever it is. Now what will happen, this hard coded data will be not shown on the screen, but it will be kept as a hidden value here. Anybody submitting this button, imagine there is no submit button here also, but assume that some submit button is there, then what it will do is it will submit that data to the controller without any problem. So any value you don't want to show, but you want to drive it to the server from the client side, then it is a client side state management. All right. So these are all various MVC states that I had not covered you. 8:40. Okay. I think 9 o'clock I have given time to some people, so you can connect as per the schedule. Now I will take a break of 15 minutes. So 9 o'clock, whoever has scheduled before, you people can join. And 9:15, few more people I have given also accordingly. So that class, that meeting can be both the group meeting together. Few more topics also there which I have not covered to you but covered to that group. So that will also be covered. But tomorrow, Sunday, I will have combined class. Okay. Today I gave them break, so tomorrow we will have combined class. So that combined class will be new topic. I need some help from you guys. In Microsoft website, you have to go and create your Microsoft user ID. If you have already created, it is good. Otherwise, you have to create and keep ready. So here onward, some feature I am going to teach which will need Microsoft user ID. Okay. So because it's cloud related, operations will do. So that will be using some Microsoft user ID. If you have already created, very good. If you have not created, today itself you create it and keep it ready. Okay. Then only you can do that practice. But for my purpose, any one of you just create one user ID password and give it to me. Because by showing my user ID password many times, they have blocked mine. Okay. So I cannot create any more with my mobile number. So any one of you just create Microsoft user ID and keep it ready and give it to me with credential. So don't give me existing one. You create a new one and give it to me, so that using that user ID password, I can teach you at least. Okay. Tomorrow we'll have the class. I don't know. Tomorrow we have class, right? Tomorrow is Sunday. Yeah. So today itself, spend some time, 10-15 minutes, prepare a Microsoft user ID and give some password. Any one of you give some password in such a way, if somebody will read that password also, doesn't matter. Okay. Don't give your secret passwords and all. Simply say ABCD @ 1 2 3 4, like that, set the password. Because user ID password both you have to share. not everybody, only one person has to share me, so that I can use that user ID password for the teaching purpose. Okay, other things you can practice your own. Okay, all right. So anyone just create it, and in the personal message window you share it, so that using that user ID password I can teach you tomorrow. Okay, all right. So let's regroup again tomorrow same time, 7:30.